Hey, what's going on, guys? I am online reading right now, and I'm also just playing around with this Facebook Live or YouTube Live feature on here. And I just noticed something that's super interesting. Sam Zell, if you don't know who Sam Zell is, he's a billionaire. He got started in real estate. I think by the time he was like 19, he had $1 million. He got started in student housing or just real estate in general. He started developing, building, all kinds of stuff. The man is an absolute beast. If you have not read his book, check it out. It's called Am I Being Too Subtle by Sam Zell. You got to watch it. However, he was just on, what site was he on? I think it's Bloomberg. He was interviewed on Bloomberg, and he was saying that he bought gold for the first time in his life, which is crazy. The guy's worth over $5 billion, and he bought gold. And the reason why, I'll just read this to you real quick. He says, it says 79-year-old American billionaire appeared on Bloomberg. He says, it feels funny because I've spent my career asking, why would I want to own gold? He says, it has no income, it costs to store it, and yet when you see the debasement of the currency, you say, what am I going to hold on to? So in other words, he's seeing inflation coming, and he's like, I've got to hold my wealth in, or I've got to store my wealth in some place where I don't feel like inflation is going to affect it. And he says, the U.S. is not the only country that is printing too much money. And then he says, we are seeing, so he points out that he sees inflation everywhere, and he says, we're seeing it in all of our businesses. And he says it's reminding him a lot of the 70s. So I think that, when I look at economists and when I look at what other guys are, what they're doing who are way smarter than me, it's a clue. It's a clue that, if Sam Zell is looking at the markets and he's like, wow, this is getting pretty crazy. I'm seeing inflation really tick up, and he's not sure that it's going to, go away. And you see him buying gold, it makes you think about our decisions, what we should be buying. The thing that I still like about real estate, I think Sam Zell's on a different level. Like, he's got so much wealth that, who knows? He didn't say how much gold he actually bought. So, to him, it might be a different situation. But to, me, it still is important that the assets that I'm buying are producing cash flow. Like Sam Zell said in this, he says, it costs to store and it has no income. So, but like, a billionaire like him, he has so much money that he's just looking for a place to store it. But for someone like, myself, or maybe you guys, if you are still trying to make your money work for you as much as possible and, try to leverage the money that you have, we should really be buying assets that are producing cash flow. So real estate is one of the great examples of that because, you rent it out, so you're receiving income every single month, even after your expenses. So you're making money on it. The inflation is really, it's a video for another time is talking about, so when you have debt on something and when you have inflation, if it's fixed rate debt, let's say it's a 30-year fixed rate loan, 30 years from now, you're going to be paying off that loan with much cheaper dollar bills. So real estate can be a great way to hedge against inflation. You've got the cash flow, you've got the appreciation of the asset. I think it's a really great idea. But if you're, sitting on a couple $1 billion like Sam Zell, hey, gold might not be a bad idea. So I don't know, just thought I'd jump on here and say that. We will see you guys later.